This election year is almost over with today being the last day for early voting. Thank God, because this whole thing has been completely crazy since the beginning. I'm talking about 2016. And also, rappers are not allowed to vote nor talk to the president about anything at all. All that and more on the TJ Evans Show. How's it going out there? I'm your host, TJ Evans, and this is the TJ Evans Show. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the Royal Family Studio page, and hit the bell for notifications for our newer uploads. Thank you for joining us. We have a bit of a problem. Rappers are being used more and more in politics as pawns to gain the black vote. We saw this previously with the Obama administration, with the Hillary Clinton campaign trying to use Jay-Z and Beyonce, and we see this with Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders using rappers like Killer Mike and Cardi B. The only person who makes sense in that whole thing is Killer Mike, but even his feelings towards Bernie Sanders when it comes down to the actual policies, I don't agree with. But rappers aren't allowed to be Republican. And it's because black people aren't allowed to be Republican, and Democrats believe this wholeheartedly because they get 90+% of the black vote. We saw this happen this week when rapper 50 Cent came out and said, I can't vote for Joe Biden because he's trying to take out my money. The tax that he's trying to put on the wealth of rich people is 62%, and my name's 50 Cent. I'm not trying to be 20 Cent. People were a little upset about this, and his former ex-girlfriend came out and had this to say.
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right, 50 Cent, and his support of Donald Trump?
Yeah, what's going on between you? I saw your tweets, and I go, wait, what's happening? Because you said he was your favorite ex-boyfriend, and then what does he do? Supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to, seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind and publicly denounces Donald Trump. I might be willing to go for another spin, if you know what I'm talking about.
This is kind of funny because this white lady, if y'all didn't catch it, this white lady said that this black man can't vote for Donald Trump because he's a black man. It's terrible. White people shouldn't think that they own the black vote. Well, white Democrats. But this is how they feel. If you don't understand this and you don't believe this, remember what Joe Biden, the man who is running for president for the Democratic Party, said on the Breakfast Club to Charlamagne the God, a black guy.
See us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what we do. As Democrats, we tell black people, you can't be black unless you vote Democrat. I guess that works since it rhymes a little. And then Ice Cube came out and said, you know what? I want to have a contract with Black America. This was for the past couple of weeks that he wanted to sit down with the presidents to be, whichever one will win, and have a conversation about what do they plan on doing for black Americans. Not brown people, not people of color, black Americans who've been here forever, non-immigrants. The Joe Biden campaign said, we'll talk to you after the election to let you know. And Donald Trump said, yo, come on in, let's have a conversation, let's talk a little bit. People felt that Ice Cube was wrong just because he sat down and talked to Donald Trump. Because you're not supposed to talk to Donald Trump because he's worse than Hitler. At least that's what the narrative is. But they did not pay attention to the fact that Joe Biden didn't even want to have a sit down with him. Donald Trump didn't only sit down with Ice Cube, he also sat down with Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne tweeted out a picture of him and Donald Trump after they talked about Donald Trump's Platinum Plan, which is a plan to help Black Americans. And he tweeted out this. Just had a great meeting with @RealDonaldTrump @POTUS. Besides what he's done so far with criminal reform, the Platinum Plan is going to give the community real ownership. He listened to what we had to say today, and sure, he will and can get it done. And then Black Americans called him a coon for this. Even white Americans called him an Uncle Tom. How? Because he sat down with the man that's in power who's actually trying to bring up policies to help Black Americans? That's the craziest thing to me. But it's a way that the human brain works, where once you get this firsthand knowledge of this, or once you receive information first, whatever information hits your brain first, that you completely run with that. And some people, instead of trying to be vigilant and do their due diligence to get more information to find the truth, they run with that first thing that they're told, and you can't change their minds. It's crazy. I forgot what it was called. But why can't I sit down with the President of the United States? This president, compared to previous administrations, has actually done things for the Black community. Think about it. He's only been in office for 4 years. Only been in politics for 4 years, compared to the man who he's running against, Joe Biden, who's been in office for 47 years. You know what? I was going to do a comparing and contrast on Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. But honestly, the people who are going to vote for Joe Biden are only voting for Joe Biden so they don't vote for Donald Trump.
And Democrats have said that President Trump is trying to delegitimize the election and will not accept the election results. Well, let's see what would happen if the shoe is on the other foot. If Trump wins the election, would you necessarily accept the results?
I hope that the country doesn't accept this. If he wins, I hope not, but if he does win.
So you hope the country won't accept the results?
I hope they do not.
If Trump wins, would you accept the election results?
No.
I think that this country will accept that.
I'd be out here riding every day. If Trump gets elected again, you'll catch me out here. It's not going to be the end of it.
How important is it to have a free and fair election in the United States?
Very. I mean, that's the point of democracy.
Yeah, that's the basic democracy. Everyone can vote.
It's everything. If you're not having a legitimate and fair election, then it's not a democracy.
Is that an extremely important value of America?
Yes.
What's more important, a free and fair election or getting Trump out of office?
Short-term free and fair election.
Is more important?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. Trump out.
Trump out is more important.
Trump out.
What's more important, a free and fair election or getting rid of Trump? You're being honest.
Getting rid of Trump.
Getting Trump out of office. Getting Trump out of office, for sure.
If there is rampant voter fraud, would you accept Trump's election results?
No, what? Because there's rampant voter fraud.
If there's rampant voter fraud and Biden wins, would you accept the results?
Yeah, I would. I don't give a
If we're being honest,
I'm being honest.
We're-
Yeah, what?
would you take electricity to your nads?
Huh?
That's the question. Have you heard me?
Oh, permanent NAD damage?
Like what voltage? Because I think I can withstand a decent voltage, and I would take that to make sure Trump doesn't win.
You would.
No, I would take those shots in the nuts.
Yeah. Obviously, if I said it, I would let a dog drown. Of course.
That's an easy one. Okay. Would you punch your mom in the face? Okay.
Let my mom.
Oh,
It's for the country, man. It's for the country.
I love my mom.
We all love our moms.
She'll probably understand it. She doesn't want Trump in office yet.
Yeah, I think she would.
No one cares about the policies. I voted for Donald Trump today because his policies has worked. The things that he's been doing for the American people is the things that need to be done. Even when it comes down to lowering taxes and unemployment going down, the economy doing very well, even besides the issue that we're dealing with the coronavirus, we're doing pretty good. The cities that are going up in flames right now and dealing with riots and the coronavirus the hardest, and they're being hit the hardest, are blue states But nobody wants to point that out, or nobody wants to pay attention to that. Joe Biden's administration wants to do nothing but create a larger government. They even want to work more with China, the people who have been pretty much enslaving this country, the people who released this deadly disease on the world. They talked about, at the beginning of Donald Trump's administration, about Russia and Ukraine and all these things. But we just found out in the past week or so, and even the past few months, that the ties with Russia and Ukraine were all with Joe Biden. The facts are already laid out. They tried to accuse Donald Trump of being a pedophile when he went to Jeff Epstein's party or whatever. But the people who are accusing him went to Jeff Epstein's parties way more than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump only went once or twice, and they are seeing on the log more than that. And even Hunter Biden's computer has been found with child pornography on it. But the news media doesn't want to talk about that. Donald Trump has ran this country following the Constitution, but they call him a fascist. Fascists would not let the news media lie about him all the time. Versus the Obama administration, who actually tried to censor the news media and attack journalists. Fascists wouldn't let people keep their guns. But the Joe Biden administration wants to take your guns. I don't understand why people hate Donald Trump so much, other than the fact that he talks really loud and he's a bit arrogant. But I don't care about the words of the man. What are his actions? Donald Trump has done more for the American people and more for the black community. I won't say than Abraham Lincoln, but like he says, but he's done way more than the Obama administration. You tell me what the Obama administration did for black people. I really want to know. Donald Trump has did prison reform. He has lowered the unemployment rate for black Americans. More black businesses are being created. Salary for Americans on average has went up $5,000. The border security, the border wall, the hole that he's trying to do on illegal immigration, what he's trying to stop, is beneficial to the black community more than any other Americans, because illegal immigrants, they go into the black communities. They live there. Like, there are wars going on in California between Hispanics and black Americans. They come in and take the jobs that would go to black Americans and work them at a lower wage. So I can understand why I can be happy, because I'm a black man and he's done more for the black community. Joe Biden, on the other hand, 94 crime bill, voted on it. He said that integration and busing would be or lead up to a racial jungle, which he does not want his kids to grow up in. He said those things. And even his own running mate accused him of being a racist.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
Look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education That's what I opposed.
Well,
I
there
did
was
not
a
oppose.
failure of states to integrate
No,
public
but-
schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a
So
local
that's
decision.
where the federal government must step
No,
in.
the
That's why
federal
we have the
government
Voting
must
Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history.
I don't see how you can vote for a man clearly who is not all the way there. I mean, he does nothing but gaffe all day, and he's done it before in his political life, but now it's looking a little bit like he's losing all his mind. Like, he's slowly but surely losing his mind. That's why he stays locked away in the basement and doesn't do any campaigning, because he can't do it. The last debate showed it. And honestly, I thought the last debate was going to be terrible just because they said that they were going to mute the mics. But it turned out that not muting the mics really did help the Donald Trump campaign and expose who Joe Biden really was, or is. Probably was. I don't want to speak about it in the past tense, but you should always let Joe Biden talk.
He is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access from China. And he did it late after 40 countries had already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly the source was. What did the president say in January? He said, no, he said, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about, don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on.
I don't know. You tell me, why did you vote for Joe Biden? Is it really his policies, or the only reason that you can come up clearly with was because I hate Donald Trump?
We're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. That man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch out of habit where their wife or husband is gone. Learning to live with it. Come on. We're dying with it because he has never said, he said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now? What should they do about the danger? And you say, I take no responsibility.
I'm your host, TJ Evans, and this is the TJ Evans Show, Royal Family Studios.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to the press conference. I said, no, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.